Hello everybody. In this video we're going to continue our lesson on area of composite shapes, but we're going to introduce some triangles here as well. Now in this example we have the following composite shape, and remember our strategy was all about splitting our composite shape into smaller basic shapes that we can calculate the area for using our formula sheet. So in this diagram in front of us, we can split our shape into two basic shapes like this. So this gives us shape A, I like to name them, and this gives us shape B. Okay, now I don't know all the measurements yet for my shape, so I need to do that first so I can determine what type of shape I have. The top one is quite clear, it's a triangle, but the bottom one, not so much, because it could be a square or it could be a rectangle. I don't know at the moment. Okay, so how can we figure out all the measures? Let's start with our triangle here. These are the legs or the dimensions of my triangle. This bottom line, so this is the base of my triangle, is equal to this distance here. So I'm going to label that. It's going to be 6 centimeters. Okay, I don't need to know the length of the hypotenuse or the slanted side. I don't need to know what it is because it's not a part of my triangle area formula. I need to know this distance, however, because this is the height of the triangle. Now, how do we figure this out? I'm going to look at all the vertical distances to see if they can give me a clue as to what this distance is. So I know that from here to here, this entire distance is 9 centimeters. And from here to here, it's 5 centimeters. I just need to know what this distance is. So I'm going to draw that on the side. If the distance from here to here it's 9, and from here to here is 5, what could this distance be? Now keep in mind that this and this need to add up to 9, right? Well, what number plus 5 will equal to 9? That number is 4. A more systematic way to do this is to take the total, 9, take away the 5, and that will give you 4, which is this distance. So the height of my triangle is 4 centimeters. Okay, so now I have the dimensions of my triangle. The next step is to double check the dimensions of the shape below. So this distance is 5 and this is 6. So this is a rectangle. So I have two shapes. A is a triangle and B is a rectangle. And I have the formulas that will help me calculate the areas of these two basic shapes. So let's start with shape A. I'm going to draw a rough sketch so that I don't get overwhelmed with my composite shape. This is 6 centimeters and this is 4 centimeters. My formula in my formula sheet says that the area of a triangle is base multiplied by height divided by 2. So my base here is 6 centimeters and my height is 4 centimeters. And now I'm just going to replace those values in my formula. So the base is 6 multiplied by 4 divided by 2. So remember to use order of operations. So we multiply these first. 6 times 4 is 24. Divided by 2 is equal to 12. So the area of the rectangle is 12 square centimeters. Now I'm not going to box that because we're not done yet. We still have to find the area of the bottom shape. Shape B. I'm going to draw a rough sketch of shape B. So my distance here is 5 centimeters and here it's 6 centimeters. The area of a rectangle is length times width, and here my length is 6 and my width is 5. And this gives me 30 square centimeters. Now to find the total area, I'm going to add the two smaller areas. So that's 12 centimeters squared, that's the area of my triangle, plus 30 centimeters squared, that's the area of my rectangle. And together, those should give me 42 square centimeters. And this is my final answer, and I'm going to put it in a box. Okay, now I do have another example. This one has multiple basic shapes. So I'd like you to pause the video in a few seconds and try to split this shape into basic shapes. There could be more than one way to split it, but there's always one way that's more convenient, that's less work. So please pause now try to split it, and then come back. All right, so now I'm going to talk about how I would like to split the following shape. In this instance, I'm going to split it this way and this way. And that will give me 3 basic shapes. I'm going to call this shape 1, this is shape 2, and this is shape 3, just for convenience, okay? Now I have a rectangle, another rectangle, and then I have a triangle. And I'm going to check to see if I have all the necessary dimensions. In shape number 1, it looks like I'm okay. I have my width and I have my length, and that's all I need. Your formula, by the way, should tell you what you need, okay? Now, in my second shape here, I have my length, but I don't have my width. I don't know what this is yet. Now, the 10 here, the 10 is the distance from this side to this side. It's not the distance from here to here, so I need to figure that out. To find that distance, I need to look at everything that is horizontal. So I have this distance, which is 10. This is horizontal. This is also horizontal. This is 4, right? So remember what we did in the last question. If this distance is 10 and this distance is 4, I need to know what this distance is. So what number plus 4 will give me 10? Or in other words, 10 minus 4 is 6. So this distance here in pink is 6 centimeters. And that makes sense, right? Because if the distance from here to here is 10, this is 6 and this is 4, together they give you 10, right? This is 4. Oh, and by the way, this is in feet. I wrote centimeters by accident. I will fix that. Here we go. Let's write centimeters. That's, oh dear, it's feet. That's better. Okay, now we just sorted out our second shape. So we have a length of 9 and a width of 6. So this one is good. Let's talk about our last shape here, our triangle. Let's look at our base. Our base should be the same distance as the bottom of this triangle. So this is also 6 feet. Okay, now we need to determine the height of this triangle, which is the distance from here to here. Now, that's not given to us. The 8, that's the distance from the top to this corner right here, right? So we need to know this distance. So how are we going to figure that out? So we're going to use the same trick. Okay, we're going to look at every vertical distance here. So the distance from here to here is 9. And the distance from here to here is also 9, right? So the distance from here to here is 6. So I'm going to label those. So this is 6, right? This has to add up to 9. From here to here has to add up to 9. So this is 3, right? Because look at it this way. I'm going to highlight it. From here to here, it's 9. From here to here is 9. Okay? We know that this is 6 because this is 6. So 6 plus 3 will give us 9. Okay? And now the last thing I'm looking for is this distance. Now this one in green plus 3 need to add up to 8. So this number has to be 5. This is 5 feet. Okay? So now we have all the information that we need to calculate the area of this composite shape. This one is a really busy one. So now I'm going to go to a cleaner diagram and I'm going to put these numbers back in just to help us solve the question because this can be quite overwhelming. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay, here we go. This is a lot better. So I'm just going to put those numbers that we found together. This is 6 feet. And this one we found to be 6 feet. This one we found to be 3, but we don't really need that. We just need to know that this is 5 feet and this is 6 feet. Okay? And remember how I named this? I call this shape 1, shape 2, and shape 3. And now I'm going to find the areas. I'm going to start with shape number 1. That is a rectangle. So the area is length multiplied by width. Okay? What is my length in this case? That's 6 feet. And my width is here. It's 4 feet. So 6 by 4. And that equals to 24 square feet. And I'm just going to underline that. Now let's move on to shape 2. That's also a rectangle. So I have length times width. Now my length here is 9. My width is 6. So I have 9 times 6. And that equals to I believe 54 square feet. Okay, now we're moving on to shape number 3. This is a triangle. So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. The base here is 6, it's this one, and the height is 5, it's this one. So 6 times 5 divided by 2, that's 30 divided by 2, which is 15 square feet. And now to find the final area, the total area, we're going to add all these smaller areas. So that's 24 square feet plus 54 square feet plus 15 square feet. And all together, that gives us 93 square feet. And note how we're using appropriate units throughout. And these are 2 examples on how we can calculate the areas of composite shapes, but this time involving triangles as well.